and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Monika and this is episode 14. It's been quite a while since the last episode, not particularly because I wanted to, but that's just how it is. I think it's been 3 weeks, and since last time I have started a new job and gotten quite sick, lost my voice, and now it's finally back. So then I can also do some filming. So yeah. I have a few objects to show today. One is finished, and one is a new cast on you haven't seen before. Actually, the one that's finished you haven't seen before either, so yeah. And also I have a few, or at least one, old project that I've been working on fixing. So I hope you enjoy the episode. Yeah, I'll start with what I'm wearing. I do not know what this pattern is at all. My grandma knit this for me. It is a relatively rustic yarn in the fact that it is very well suited for color work, but I don't find it as itchy as I previously thought. So yeah, just had to close some windows on the computer so it doesn't get so it don't overheat. But yeah, I noticed last episode that I say quite a lot, so I'm gonna try and stop saying that so much, but it's hard. I'll start with my finished object when it comes to my projects. I'm sorry, I have no idea what yarn this sweater is, or even the pattern. I tried to ask my grandma, but she said it's been so long since she knit it. She has no idea. It's at least 10 years old. And remarkably, it holds up quite well. It might be because it hasn't been quite as much used. It hasn't been used a lot, because the reason why I got it was my grandma realized she had a lot of sweaters she didn't use. So instead of just leaving them in the closet, she wanted to make sure they got used, and she knew I didn't have that many sweaters yet, so I got it. And it's very good, very nice. The people in my family that knit are roughly the same size, so we can swap knitwear almost as often as we want. But I prefer to keep my knitwear. If I gift anything away, it's because I intended it as a gift when I started, or halfway through perhaps. If I intended it for myself all the way through the process of making it, I am not willing to give it away. Okay, done with the sweater. My finished object is another hat for my husband. You might remember the saga of last year with all the hats I knit in an effort to try and find the size that my husband prefers. He likes them super tight. This one is double knit, and when I started knitting it, I intended it for him to be able to like fold it up. But when he wears it, it gets stretched out so much. It's you can't make a brim. This is also made out of double Sunday in the colorway Dypere. Yeah, I think I used the same needle size too as the last hat. 3.5. Actually, I went down a bit. He is very pleased. Sadly, the weather has turned, so it's no longer as cold, so he hasn't had a chance to use it yet. I would not have liked wearing it. When I put it on, it feels way too tight. Somewhere here I have there it is, tape measure, so I can actually see how tight this is before it's stretched out. Yeah, it is, oh, that's really tight. 36 centimeters, which apparently is 14 inches. And my husband is more like 56 to 60 inches around his head, which is like 23 inches. I do not understand why he wants it that tight. It kind of loses its function because it gets so stretched out that all the wind kind of gets through, in my opinion. But this is how he wanted it, and he is super happy, so it was worth it. I do enjoy double knitting. I've been doing it a lot lately, as you will see in a later project. Though this yarn is not the best when it comes to double knitting. It looks a bit uneven. I do still love it because it's soft and warm at the same time. I don't think it's super wash. I'm pretty sure it's not super wash. Actually, I can check. It's Double Sunday by Sandnes Garn. And it is not super wash. It has a tendency to bloom a tiny bit when you wash it. But I don't think I'm gonna wash this one. Maybe I'm gonna wash a lot of my knitwear tomorrow or the day after. Well, to you it will already be done if everything goes to plan. The question is just whether or not I can be bothered doing it. Yeah. That's the first and sadly also my only finished object. Still very pleased. Took me not that many days, I think 11. Yeah, 11 days. So I started it the week before I started the new job, and I was done with it weekend after or something. Anyway, putting it away. I now have my other knitting basket over here, and at the moment it's empty, but I'm only gonna put actual projects in it instead of finished objects, so I just put the hat on the floor. I am a bit unsure on the sequence of things I'm gonna do, but the easiest is probably just to start at the top. And in that case, I started a headband, or maybe ear warmers, I'm not sure the English term. I try so hard not to say all the time. Very hard. This is also double knitting. And this is double knitting and colorwork. Yeah. It shows up better on the back side, but I could just flip it around. I haven't done any increases, decreases or something like that, so there's no right and wrong side on this yet. I haven't gotten that far in the colorwork because this is the second time I'm trying it. The first time it got too tight. Since I haven't done a lot of double knitting before, I haven't quite figured out the ratio of how many stitches I need to get the correct circumference. It doesn't matter that much when it comes to like button bands and stuff, because if you're a half a centimeter off, it doesn't matter. But when it comes to something that's supposed to be around your head, it kind of does. So the first time I did use this yarn, which is, I'm sorry, this one I don't have on the top of my head, so I actually have to check. It's Hogna Garn Kvil. The yarn band is brown, so I'm having a tiny bit of trouble reading it. It's yarn from sheep that is at a little farm in Budalen, which is an hour south of Trondheim. So this is in Norway. And this color is called Lille. They have the same yarn in a different colorway that's called Tutti Frutti. I was planning on using them together, but they were slightly too similar, so it was hard to differentiate because both of them contains both red and yellow. I think it's over there. There it is. Yeah. So I tried it with leftovers from my cable sweater. This is Lille Garn Merino in the colorway Mars. This is superwash, and when I tried these two together, they turned out to be too similar too, because this one does have a slight yellow and pinkish hue to it, so that when I was in the yellow hair or the pink in this, it was too similar. It was difficult to see the pattern, which was not quite the point. So I still do have quite a lot left over of this yarn, and I have to figure out what to do with it, but I haven't figured it out quite yet. Since that didn't work, and I was like halfway through when I decided to frog it and start over, I looked through some of my one skeins that are like in this shelf, all the way over to the, well, I mean to your right, my left. So, and I found this one yarn, which is Rauma Garn Vandre, in the colorway 19, which is light gray. And it just so happened that both of these skeins were 50 grams and 90 meters, exactly the same. So I took a chance, because they're not the same yarn. Sorry, I got some ringing in my ear. It is bothering me a bit. I'm still having some trouble after flying last week. My hearing isn't quite right after I fly every time. So yeah. Anyway, that's for later in the episode. I do really enjoy the pattern that I made up. It's just a traditional star. Actually, I think I have. Yeah. I just colored this piece of paper with quite a traditional star pattern. Very much used on gloves and things like that. And made sure I had a stitch count that made sense. I might release this pattern, though it will be a one size, because there's too many stitches. I think it's like 24 or something in each repeat, and I think I have 4 repeats, so it's either gonna be a lot smaller or a lot bigger, so you have to kind of like find the right yarn instead of the right pattern. Yeah. But I am very pleased. The color combination is beautiful. I do enjoy the inside more when I look at it, but I find the outside easier to like follow the pattern in my head. Probably because on the outside my contrast color is gray, and that is also the color of my pencil, since it's just a normal pencil. So yeah, I've enjoyed this quite a lot, and I haven't actually worked on it very long, because I cast this on the day after I was done with my husband's hat. But that was of course the first version, which I then frogged earlier this week. So yeah, I don't restart the count on when I started on a project, not unless I take a serious break in between. Then I just say that the first attempt was a fail and this is the second attempt. The first attempt was a fail. I was contemplating keeping it and giving it to a child, but it is very, very rustic, and I don't think I would have been able to use it as a child. And I do know that I'm more sensitive than most people when it comes to yarn, at least now. I'm just making a tangle of myself. But yeah, I do want to wear more rustic yarns. I just have to make sure it's not like directly on my bare skin when it comes to like my chest or my neck or face. I'm hoping this is gonna be okay, even though it's gonna be in my forehead. I'll just have to wait and see. If it's a total fail, I have a lot of other yarn I can try again. Though I don't know if I'm gonna do it again. Maybe I'll just say, okay, I tried and then it didn't work. At least not now. I'm starting to get done. I'm just gonna put this away. I'm starting to get a bit done with small accessory winter knitting things. I do want to finish my sweaters, though I mean I can knit them on at the summer too. I mean my Seascape sweater, which is the only sweater I have that's actually a pattern, not mine. I did not release that pattern. It was just the first Colorwork sweater I wanted to knit, or actually the first sweater, second sweater. I do not know anymore. I've been knitting for a very, very long time, but I haven't been knitting sweaters. I've been knitting a lot of clothing, I just haven't been knitting sweaters. I've knit skirts and socks and hats and scarves, all of that. But I never did sweaters because I couldn't handle wool next to my skin. And when I finally did find that my intolerance was not that bad anymore, I wanted to try it. So yeah. I'm gonna show the next project now. This is a project you have seen before, but only barely, because I started this this year, 1st of January. This is my second version of my cable knit sweater. I have come so far as splitting for sleeves. So yeah, and the needles I'm knitting on are a bit small and makes a lot of noise. So yeah, I am very pleased with this pattern. This is a pattern I'm planning on releasing, I just don't know when. Original plan was releasing it in February, but I don't find that very realistic, to be honest. I am gonna release it without having a test knit. I will instead point out it hasn't been tested, but the math should work out, and if anyone wants to give feedback, that would be incredible. But I do not have the resources to get things test knit and spend so much time on that. I have a very busy work life. So, and this is just a hobby for me. I have no plans of making this into my day-to-day work. I do want to show the fabric a bit closer, maybe more like this. At the moment there's no difference between the back and front. This one I don't know if I'm gonna make the raised color as I did on the last one. But yeah, I have the double diamond in the front, which I'm very, very pleased with. And then I have these two cables that run along that diamond part. I have some moss stitch on either side. I have a cable along the raglan. And the difference between this and the other one, old pattern or what first sample or whatever, is I wanted this to be bigger, but I didn't want the arms to be too wide. So I added a part here at the underarm where I only increased on one side of this cable So when I will have more of this, you will be able to see. This was very hard to show. Now, yeah, there you can see it. The cable that runs along here kind of does a turn and comes down here, and then there's some reverse stockinette right next to it. Before here I add for the underarm. And a second difference between this and the other sweater, is that the pattern under the arm is different. I did some honeycomb cables under the arm, and the fabric under there was quite thick because you cross 2 cables every other round, or maybe it's every 4th round, I don't remember. Either way, you cable a lot and you cable often, and that makes the fabric very thick. And I didn't think about that when I made the first one. The fabric under the arm is a bit too thick. If you run warm, you will run too warm. So instead I changed it to be the same pattern that is on the top of the arm, which is just 1 diamond instead of the double diamonds that are in the front. Let's see. I have no idea if you can see anything, because I did choose a yarn that's notoriously difficult to show on camera. I really, really do love this yarn. This is Lille Rille, and I think, yeah, it's thick merino, which is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon, which means this will be very durable, but also not as elastic, which is why I wanted it to be a tiny bit bigger. I think that's all I have to say about this. Always so difficult to remember to say everything about the pattern. Yeah, and I'm knitting them up with 4mm needles. I really do enjoy this project. This has been a joy to knit, but it does require not necessarily concentration, because I am quite into the pattern, but I do need to look. So this is not the project I'm working on if I have to like look up a lot. But I don't have to think a lot, so I can just sit there in my own world and look at the project while I'm knitting. So that's very nice. So yes, I'm gonna put this in the basket. Okay. Second one is also a new cast on. I've had quite a few new cast ons this year already. This one is actually a project I'm gonna frog. Yarn everywhere. But yeah, this is made out of Babyull Lanett, which is superwash, and it's from Sandnes garn. The only reason I haven't frogged it yet is because I wanted to actually show it on the podcast, because I hate having to like talk about projects I don't have to show. That just seems silly to me. But yeah, I am actually quite pleased with the way it looks. It just didn't quite turn out the thickness nor the width I wanted. I wanted a mini scarf. It does also curl, so I'm not that pleased. Yeah, I'm also still quite sore, so I'm sorry that I sound quite dry. I am quite dry when it comes to my voice at the moment. I wanted a mini scarf. I didn't quite hit the mark with this one. It's too thick, because when I first tried it with just one, it felt too thin, but I think I just should have gone down a few needle sizes. I think this one is 3 or 4 maybe 3.5. Where are the markings? There they are. This is 3.5. I should probably have gone down to a 3 and just knit one strand alone. It's broken rib. Did not quite work out the way I wanted. I was inspired by the Sophie scarf, but I didn't want to knit it because I didn't want to buy the pattern. And I also wanted to make my own thing, but I think there's a reason why the Sophie scarf is garter stitch. It's just, it doesn't curl, it looks nice, it still has texture. So yeah. This I'm gonna frog. I'm gonna start it again because I do want it. But this is too thick. It is very thick and squishy, which is nice, but it wasn't what I was trying at this moment. I wanted it to be thinner, so it's easier to wrap around my neck, and as you can see, it is already too wide. I did stop increasing quite early, but I wanted it to be wide enough to actually show off the broken rib, but it is too wide to do the function of a Sophie scarf. So I will instead take inspiration from the Sophie scarf and do a garter stitch tiny scarf thing. Still not gonna follow a pattern. I barely ever do, especially when it comes to scarves and things. And I'm gonna increase a lot less frequently. I think there's a reason why she did it as infrequently as she did. I do not know the name of Petite Knit, I just know her working name. Again. Actually, I'm just gonna pull it out right away. I'm not even gonna use these ones afterwards, so might as well. I haven't worked on them that long, it doesn't matter. I have already frogged it like twice. I just haven't quite figured out how to do it yet in a way that I'm pleased with. And I'm not willing to buy the pattern because I still want it to be my own, so. But that's definitely not the pattern I'm gonna release because it's gonna be very similar. So yeah. Though I do think I'm gonna skip the I-cord edge. I have tried that with a few things, and I-cord edge on shawls and scarves I have figured is just not my thing. I've tried with 2 stitches, I tried with 3 stitches, I tried with 4 stitches. I just don't like it. So I think I instead will just have a slip stitch edge. Sorry. I have a very dry spot and I'm trying to like itch it. Yeah. As you probably can tell, I have been quite sick, so it is what it is. Yeah. I'm gonna show us a new project, which you have seen before, and I am probably just as tired of it as you are. It's my vanilla pair of socks. I did finish one quite a while ago now. I don't actually remember when I finished this one, but I think it was in the last podcast episode, so 3 weeks ago. And I have not had a lot of progress on the second one. I have knit like 5 rounds or something. I do know it's just laziness. I've been so tired of this. The needles were too small and I stopped liking doing magic loop, and I do not actually enjoy DPNs, and that DPNs makes it impossible to bring it on trips for me. So this is now exclusively a home knit, and this is not what I reach for when I'm at home. Still, I really want it done. This is probably gonna be the one pair that actually fits me. most of the socks I knit are always too big or a tiny bit too loose, but this one I have high hopes. It might even be a bit too tight. Even though I'm super tired of the project, I do still love the yarn. This purple is Mrs. Fox in the colorway Cold Shoulder. I think it's Merino Gritty, which also contains stellina and nylon, because it is a sock yarn. While the peach color is Life in the Long Grass singles in the colorway Angel City. I am pretty certain I'm gonna love these socks when I'm done with them, but I think perhaps also it's because this is a third pair of socks I'm knitting in this exact color. So perhaps I just need a different color to work on. I've given away both of the previous pairs. The first one was pink with this as the contrast. Oh no, this is only the second pair I'm working up in this color, because the second pair was just pink. Yeah. Okay. My bad. Still, I'm gonna finish this up, and then I will still have some left over that I'm gonna reskein, because this is getting really chaotic. And yeah, I'm just gonna have to sit down and knit. Get this over with. I do want a pair. My husband really annoys him that I haven't finished them yet. Not that he actually cares about what I knit, it's more like he has seen them so many times just laying around, not being touched, that he's a bit annoyed that they are kind of like clutter now instead of an actual project. But yeah. I'm not gonna move the marker. The marker is, it just happens to be at the 25 row mark from the heel, and I'm gonna knit like 50 rows more. So, yeah. Easier to keep track. Putting them away. One of the things that I do like about this podcast is that my projects get like rotated a bit, so that it's not the last project that I worked on that's out the top anymore, and that makes it more likely that we'll work on other projects than just the one that I've kind of been obsessing about, which is a good thing. This one I'm going to talk about later, because it's not a whip yet. But this one, okay, just gonna have to do some cleaning first. There you go. Stay. This one is a project you have seen before. It was technically done last year, but I didn't use it as much as I wanted to. And there were some reasons for that. I didn't like the color anymore. It was the first folded over color I knit, and it wasn't quite pretty. I think it was also one of the first projects at all I knit. Well, no, that's not true, but you know, first sweater. I was quite obsessed with this raglan detail for quite a while, so a lot of my things from last year have this detail. I still want to keep that, but it is too long, or too wide. The length might not be bad, but with the combination with the width, it is too big. It doesn't keep me warm because it lets all the air in. The arms are too big, but I didn't have any more yarn. So what I had to do was I frogged one sleeve, and then I washed the yarn, and I skeined it up, and I'm ready to start knitting on it. But I also do know I have to do some math to figure out how fast this last sleeve I decreased, and make sure I decrease it more often, but not too much. And I just, oh god, I haven't bothered. It's only that I haven't bothered. So yeah. This one is made out of double Sunday. It is really pilly because I didn't have any like support yarn, as I like to call it. I don't use mohair because I feel it itches a bit much. Though I might not be as sensitive now because I also am not as sensitive with rustic wool. So I'm gonna try it this year. I just haven't decided what mohair or which product yet. But not in this one at least. I have decided that I do not like this color combination. They are actually a very nice combination, but it makes the sweater too busy. I will not wear this outside with when it's kind of like a really purple and then like super blue details. It's too distracting. Also, it's too big, so I have to like fix that issue. So I will re-knit both the sleeves and like most of the body. So technically I could just have frogged the entire thing and knit it again, but I didn't want to because there are quite a lot of memories connected to this. And I wanted to keep like the spirit of it, even though I'm gonna fix some issues. The sleeves are too wide, but also the cuffs are way too wide because I didn't do any decreases. And I'm gonna rip out the blue part entirely. I do still have some purple I haven't skinned up, but that was a very small amount. I might not skin it up at all, I'll just use it as it is. I did wash it though. I did wash the yarn to get all the noodles out. And I'm gonna re-knit the collar, the hem, the cuffs in just purple. Because I'm gonna have a lot more left over when I decrease more rapidly on the sleeves, and also I'm gonna do some waist shaping in the body. Because at the moment it is very very wide under the arms. So it might be kind of a 80s look, which I don't mind. It will still be better than freezing because it doesn't cover anything. So yeah, that's this project. Oh no, actually, the two colors. The purple one is lilac, which is 5023, and the blue one is blue turquoise, which is 7213. I think the blue is no longer available. That's just what happens. I do not want to put this in a knitting basket because then I will never ever touch it. So I'm gonna put it on the floor. Oh god, I was far down. Yeah. So far I have shown one finished object, one that I had frogged twice and have maybe made a bit of progress on now. One that I'm gonna frog, I did perhaps say that, and one that I'm working on fixing. Other than that, I have one that I'm really struggling to get through, and one that I actually really love. Those are the projects I've been working on so far. The rest of the basket, I don't think have been touched at all since last week. I'm gonna move this one, because I'm gonna talk about that later. So yeah, you do perhaps remember, if you've been here before, that I do have two green sweaters. Now I'm just gonna move the entire basket into my lap. That's easier. Because this is still at an awkward phase, because I haven't been able to join it in the round or even join it in the front. Because at the moment I have the back panel and part of the left front panel, just until where I'm gonna combine the front as soon as I get done with the right one. And yeah, I do enjoy this pattern, but I think perhaps I was a bit textured out, because I did have a period last year where I only knit stockinette, and I was super bored with stockinette at that point, so I just started a million textured knits. And apparently I'm still into some textured knits since I'm gonna frog this kind of. Where did you come from? Go for the sock. Stay with the sock. I do not want to lose any needles. But yeah. So, this one is a bit harder to remember because I haven't been working on it so much or talking that much. It's Sandnes Garn Smart, which is a superwash in the colorway Sjøgrønn, which is sea green, and it's number 7364. So, I do really enjoy this pattern, I must say, but I am still at the part where I have to think a lot and calculate some things and try and all of that. So I don't think I've been enjoying it as much as I could have. And I think that's why I haven't like picked it up. Also, the past 3 weeks, as I mentioned earlier, I was really sick and also super busy because I started a new job. So I haven't knit as much as I wanted to be honest. Perhaps I would have touched this more if I had been less ill. But that we will never know. Now I am gonna rearrange the things that are in this. Actually, I did forget to show you, in case you haven't seen, what the texture actually is. I don't know how easy to see in this light, but the top one is a diamond pattern, which is a slip stitch pattern but also an actual cable, and this is twisted rib. And then I have some garter stitch in between to kind of like make it into sections, and these two sections are just gonna repeat the entire way around, or all the way down. So all in all, you won't have to think a lot. You just repeat the two sections until it's long enough. I'm sorry, I'm still not 100% well, but I'm well enough to, you know, film a video podcast. Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite patterns to knit. I just haven't had the energy, I guess. I really do enjoy it when I do work on it. Though I have been quite obsessed with the other green one at the moment, so. I am planning on the cabled green sweater to just knit until I'm out of the next skein, which is not that far more. I'm almost done with it, and then put that aside for a little bit because I'm gonna knit the sleeves before I knit the rest of the body. But I'm also gonna take the time to work on some of my other projects. I only have one more whip to show. That's actually a whip. And I am a bit disappointed with myself that I haven't been working on this more. But I think it's because I know it's not for me. And I am not a prolific gift knitter, especially not after Christmas when I knit 8 hats and gave away a bunch of them, so I am exhausted when it comes to gift knitting. But these are actually my own pattern, and I haven't even gotten far enough to get to the fun part, which are the contrast colored stripes that are in twisted rib. Apparently I have a twisted rib moment too. Who knew? I do love this pattern. This is my under the oak socks. Yeah, under the oak. It's been so long since I said it out loud that I no longer remember the English name. Give me a moment. I actually have to check. No, that's not the right. There you are. No, that's still not the right one. Where are you? Under the oak socks. I was correct. I had quite a lot of different name suggestions, and for some reason I got really confused now with what name I had actually chosen. This is gonna be like the fall version, because the version that I knit for myself is more like midsummer, like while everything is very bright and colorful. Though the socks I'm wearing are green and brown, so it's the same brown. It's a very nice brown. Yeah. I think this thread is also called deep red, and this is in Alpaca Forte, which I think is Dale yarn. I got a bit unsure. Oh, come on. There's too many things on my table. Yeah, it's Dale. Dale yarn, Alpaca Forte. The red is deep red, which is 739. The brown is 734, which is just called brown. And the green in my original pair is Grangrön, which is like elder tree green? Evergreen tree green? I'm not very good with translating color names. Grangrön makes perfect sense in my language. So yeah. This is actually the last project. It's been on my needles since right after Christmas, I think, and it's been quite a while, so I do think I'm gonna have to rearrange my basket, but I also know I'm not gonna knit on these socks until my other pair is done, so I might as well just leave them here. Also, I really do enjoy this tiny little stitch marker that's in the shape of an apple. I like that one. Anyway, putting my basket back here, because I have one project that I have tried starting like 5 times and every time just haven't quite figured out it yet. I want a pair of leg warmers. I have like this dress pants thing that I wear at work, but getting to and from work, my legs get cold. Not necessarily very cold, depending on the weather, but cold enough that it's not very comfortable. That's probably the most accurate way to say. It's not that it hurts, because it's not that cold, but it is not comfortable. So I have this bag of mini skeins, and I had 2 of each color, and I was thinking I can make stripes or something like that, though I think I'm striped out too, which is sad. I think that's why I've been frogging it so many times. I just couldn't decide what to do, to be honest. Oh, sorry. Oh. I'm filming this a lot later in the day than I usually do because I've been so busy, and I'm gonna be so busy. So yeah, as I've said before, this is a hobby of mine. I do enjoy it, but making time for it can sometimes be very difficult. But yeah, I'm planning on making a pair of leggings. I haven't quite figured out the pattern yet, other than I want it to be bright colors so I can be happy. And I'm gonna knit them with the magic loop, just so I can have a magic loop project again. I am a bit annoyed at times worked out with socks, but I think perhaps that was because the circumference was so small. So yeah. So that's a future project, or as soon as I get a good idea project, more like it. I also have almost the same colors here, which I'm gonna do into a sweater because I do actually have enough for that, but I haven't quite figured out the pattern for that either, though I did see a sweater that one of the people in my choir was wearing, and the pattern on that sweater was just inspiring. So I'm thinking of doing something that was not a knit sweater at all. It was woven, I think, or fake woven. Either way, it was really beautiful, and it was kind of like a gingham like square pattern thing, but fake-ish, because the stripes were just two colors, but then you had like gingham style in two colors here and then a different one and then the first ones again, which I think can work because I have yellow, green, blue and orange, so I can do probably the green and the blue and the orange and the yellow, or yeah, that's probably what I'm gonna do. To be honest, I think that's gonna look the best and still have that fun effect. Yes. I don't know when I'm gonna start that project either though, because I also have all this yarn down here which I'm gonna make t-shirts out of, and I desperately want more t-shirts because the one black I have, I can't wash it fast enough. I do hand wash all my knits, so hand washing that one in particular I haven't had time, so I haven't been able to use it, and I really want to use it. So yeah, I kind of feel naked when I can't wear my own knitwear, but I am very glad that I have knitwear from both my grandma and my mom, so I can actually still be warm. But I do miss being able to say, when people ask where I got the sweater, that I knit it, instead of saying, oh, my grandma knit it or my mom knit it. Though I do love to brag about them. They are fantastic knitters. Yes. Oh, I have actually one more thing I'm gonna show, because it's been so long since the last time I showed it. Can't believe I forgot it when it's laying here on the table. You might remember this yarn that I'm making a blanket out of, which I'm actually crocheting instead of knitting. So I'm just gonna show it. Yeah. Okay. Where on earth is the right side up? Yeah. No. I think I've tangled it a tiny bit, because this is not supposed to be inside here. Anyway, I have not made any progress, but it's been quite a while since I've shown it, and I just wanted to remind you that I have it, and also perhaps remind myself. I just leave the crochet hook stuck into the last stitch I made. It's the easiest way for me to keep track. I'm only using one yarn. It's not like I'm making the stripes by myself. It is actually a technique called color pooling, where you plan where the different parts of the yarn end up, which is how you get this effect. Because I have tensioned my yarn in such a way that I always get 9 of these diamonds in each color, and because of when I change the row, I will always get them like shifted one over, and I really do enjoy this effect. I must say that if I was gonna choose the colors for the stripes in this one, it's Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo Neon Stripes. Jumbo Stripes Neon or something like that. I think the color is neon. But I do not like the fact that this pink and this red are both so close in color, but also so close together. When these two stripes, it kind of looks a bit muddy. I would rather probably have skipped the red one altogether because it's not neon enough in my eyes. And perhaps done a brighter yellow before the green. The green is very neon, but it's not. There's a missing yellow or something to make it really pop. Anyway, my cat is nagging that I should get done soon so I can go to bed, and I agree. So yeah. Yeah, kitty, I'm almost done. So that's my projects. I do hope you have enjoyed this podcast with me. I do hope this one will be a tiny bit shorter, or actually I know it will be a bit shorter, because I am a bit too tired to talk about everything that happened in the past 3 weeks, though I'm gonna mention that the trip I went to with my job went very well, though it was a very hard ride home because of the weather. We only had to fly for an hour, but it was really turbulent the entire way, and it wasn't certain that we would actually land at the airport we were supposed to land at. They weren't quite sure when they took off. So yeah, that was not very fun. And my ears are still not, I wouldn't necessarily call it ringing, but more like they feel weird. And I can hear my blood rushing, which is not good. And also, that was last weekend, so I came home on Saturday and was really exhausted. And on Sunday we had we had a lunch thing, which was a late lunch, so it took all day, which is how things usually happen. And the week before, I was really ill. I lost my voice really early on Saturday. So 2 weeks ago when you see this one, and it didn't quite come back until almost more than a week later. No, not that bad. I was still raspy, but it was back. I could actually talk to people, so it's fine. And of course, since I'd started a new job, I didn't have any sick days yet. And also, I couldn't have home office because I didn't have a computer that was set up yet. So, that was fun. Trying to both get to know all my colleagues, but also keep distance because I didn't want to get them ill. Though, I was told afterwards that half of the people I work with have small children that go to kindergarten, so everyone's sick all the time, which might be the one drawback of this new job, because other than that, I really, really, really do enjoy it. I love the people, I love the tasks I've been given so far, I love the culture. I really do love how I've been included in everything in every tiny little way. I do enjoy where it is located to physically. It is slightly further away than my last job, but in theory easier to get to because I don't have to go through the city center. Though where I live and where my work live are on top of 2 different hills with a valley in between. So my plan on biking has so far been put on hold because I've been too out of shape and too sick to bike, sadly. I don't care about the weather. The weather has not been that bad. Most of the time it haven't even snowed. It only barely rained one day. It's been actually very good winter weather. It's just Some days are quite windy, and flying in the wind are not fun. It's not fun. Yeah, don't do that. Won't recommend that. So yeah, those are my little life updates things. All of the projects I've been working on so far, I think I have 8 or 9. It's not that many actually, but I do see that since I am a lot more busy now in this new job, I might have to cut down on the amount of whips I have, not because I get overwhelmed, but more like to actually see progress. There's no fun having a project that's just lingering and never getting touched. I even have 2 that's hibernating at the moment, and I have never done that before, which is really weird. Both of them are sweaters though, so the reason why they're hibernating is because I want to get a sweater actually done at some point. So yeah, I'm gonna finish up my last 2 winter projects that are like my hat, or it's not even a hat, it's more like an air warmer, and my scarf. I'm gonna finish my pair of socks and then my sister-in-law's pair of socks, and then I'm just gonna work on sweaters and maybe cast on a new pair of socks if I actually want to knit a pair of socks. I'm not gonna cast on a pair just to cast on a pair, but I do have a lot of sock yarn, and I have quite a lot of beautiful sock yarn that I really do want to knit with. Perhaps I can knit some Colorwork or something, though I do want to first have quite a few 1 colored or 2 colored socks, so that the leftovers are more easily used as colorwork instead of having to figure out, do I have enough to knit a whole sock, and all of that. Yeah. Well, I think that is it. I have a lot of my mind. Thank you all for watching. I do hope you have enjoyed this video, even though it's been quite a while since the last time. Like the video if you like the video, and subscribe. That would be very, very nice. Hope to see you again next time. Hopefully not in 3 weeks, but rather next week, if everything goes to plan. Perhaps I will set up a schedule that's more to my working better with my new schedule at some points, but at the moment I'm still trying to keep it to a weekly schedule. But yes, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.